Hey guys, Uncle Ray. In this coaching video, we're going to zoom out and look at the big picture. And I believe this might be one of the most important videos that you're going to watch because you have to understand the big picture, especially if you're thinking about hodling crypto. Now, before we dive into the big picture, I just want to say this. I was a licensed three futures and options trader, commodity trader. Well, with Ripple and XRP, they fought the SEC to prove that the majority of cryptos were not stocks. They are commodities, are currencies. Well, either one, they're both one and the same, which are commodities. And from a licensed commodity trader back in the day, I'm here to tell you, you don't invest in commodities like you do stock. They don't act the same, they don't perform the same, they don't make the same amount of money. It's entirely different. And you're going to hear a lot of wild information from people telling you like commodities don't have market caps and things like that. But it matters because it's supply and demand mainly, and most cryptos have horrible tokenomics and they have an oversupply. And the odds are when you have projects like XRP or XLM, and I could go on and on, because of how much supply they have, there's never probably going to have the demand to eat up that supply, at least in our lifetime. Definitely not in this bull run. So remember that if if you're thinking about hodling. And I could go on, and I think it'll make sense once this video is over with. But hodling is just one way to almost guarantee to get wrecked. Now that being said, we're not talking about Bitcoin. I don't believe in ever selling your Bitcoin, but why would anyone want to watch, all their profits go down, 93, 97%, and you don't get access to that money? You're losing that opportunity cost for 3 or 4 years, and then you have to hope that it's not obsolete or didn't have regulation or something like that happen to it. That just doesn't make sense. Now, that being said, because of my background on my very first video, really my very first sentences was that the legacy banks, Wall Street, and the governments, primarily the US government, are going to pick winners and losers. And that was just an educated guess like 3 years ago. But now, guys, that is 100% been proven true. And you need to understand that this is the first time in human history that the average person has been able to outrun and outperform like Wall Street and the banks. And our bags are actually getting pumped by the big boys. Well, they are flipping that right in front of our eyes, but no one wants to do that type of research. And if you don't go and do some non-biased research and go to say JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, FIS Global, Galaxy Digital, Swift, and read their roadmaps and look at what they're doing, you might believe something like Ripple is going to be relevant and take over Swift and the banking system. But if you do that research, you'll find it comical because it really is. No one needs any help with technology. I truly believe, and it comes from direct, non-biased research, that if every crypto project that we know and love disappear, the world will still have all the tech it needs to move into Web 3. And I want you to think about something, guys. 99% of all these projects are going to disappear. And if you don't believe that, go back and study the 2000.com. It's exactly deja vu for someone older like me. There were thousands of corporations come out. There were young men creating these IPOs, moving into Wall Street. Their stocks, you know, just went through the roof. There were billionaires made, and literally overnight they disappeared. Now, that being said, we did get the future leaders of the world. We got Google and Microsoft and Apple and Amazon and a handful of players. But guys, there were thousands. And in crypto, there are millions. And I don't know what it's going to look like, but in 10 years, almost every project that we thought was going to make it is irrelevant. And I could go on and on about tokenomics and utility and the way these things have been structured to make the founders and the developers and companies rich, but that's kind of irrelevant. But if you're thinking about hodling, I'd highly recommend that you zoom out and go find out who the leader in that sector is and what is their thought process. Now, if you really want to see the future, and I could give you countless examples, but I'm going to give you two. Coinbase, they came out of nowhere and they are dominating layer two on Ethereum. Last bull run, Polygon by far led that bull run and was one of the most powerful cryptos you could invest it in. Well, I don't believe it's even going to make a new all-time high, and it's like number 5, 6, or 7 of importance as far as layer twos. Still a phenomenal project, but you had Wall Street company Coinbase come out and it cloned. And think about this, the future, guys. If you have the money and the customers and the power, they have the money and everything else, and they just clone the OP stack. It's open source. It was welcomed. So think about it, guys. No token needed. So all these projects like Quant and Link and these layer twos, why would you have a third party token? It's redundant. The only reason those tokens are used is for speculation to grow those projects. Well, that's going to disappear, and regulation might actually make them disappear. But if you want to see the future, that's it. Galaxy Digital. Most people have never heard of it. It's a Wall Street company. Let me tell you what they have. They have instant settlement. They have tokenized assets, atomic settlement. Basically, long story short, you tokenize any asset. It has a message in it, directions in it. It becomes a smart contract NFT. The other side has the same thing, whatever you're swapping for, whether it's cash or whatever. And then there's a ledger. So it's totally decentralized, but once everyone's ready to go and you hit that decentralized button, which terrifies the world, especially me, if it's large sums of money, and the transaction happens on the ledger. Well, if you want to see the future and people are talking about how, like, let's say XRP or XLM or whatever is going to tokenize the world and dominate, no, it's not, guys. It's already happening. They are tokenizing hundreds of millions of dollars right now, instant settlement, atomic settlement on their rails, and they have $1 billion worth of insurance. So when you're trading decentralized, if you don't get, like, if I bought your house and I tokenize my money and you tokenize your deed and everything else, and something messes up, you call them. That's more what the world looks like, for whatever that's worth. Now, I know I start to ramble, but guys, it's really important that you understand the big picture and understand you can make a ton of money in a lot of projects, but when the game's over, and at any time you could get an announcement, for example, on tokenized assets, that BlackRock is rolling out its own rails and it's moving away from Ondo. So I own Ondo. I love Ondo, and Ondo's probably going to have a heck of a future for a couple of years until all this comes out. But guys, that's important knowledge. That's why I made this video. All right, take care and good luck with the next video.